patience and persistence. Okay? International deals have a very long gestation period. And for the reason I just said, it takes time to build relationships. Understand your customers' needs and wants. They may deal different, vastly different than what you've got in mind. So, you know, it was like I just told you, you know, this morning when I thought I had everything prepared and I forgot the main piece. I didn't have my presentation. All right? When you're dealing in international, you've got to be able to say, this deal isn't going to go the way I think it is. It's not. I can tell you, we do hundreds of deals a day. And it's a very small percentage that everything goes right. Now, from my standpoint, most of the time my customer never even sees it. Never sees it. Because we're in position to pick up the ball when it falls down. Russ, I'm sure you could probably relate to it. Your job doesn't always go as smooth as your boss thinks it does. Right? Okay? That's because you have to be prepared. You almost got to be one step ahead. I know this is going to happen, so I better be there. Let me give you a real good example. Chinese New Year. Okay? For the students in the room and maybe even for people that are working, don't know what Chinese New Year's is. But Chinese New Year is really, it's a 1-week celebration, but really turns out to be 2 weeks when people in China leave the factories, go home, and celebrate. Because the workers in China, most of them live right at the factory and live thousands of miles away from their family. And the only time they get to see their family is during Chinese New Year. Well, for the company or the buyer or the supply chain manager that's saying, I'm pretty good because I've got this marked on my calendar. And I know that Chinese New Year is 1 week, so I'm going to deal with this 1 week. Or I know it's people tell me it really flows to 2 weeks, so I'll do 2 weeks. Well, let me give you an interesting statistic about this year's Chinese New Year. At the end of the new year, 40% of the workers did not come back to their job after Chinese New Year. What do you think that did to your order that was scheduled to ship out March 1st? You think there's a chance, maybe a little chance, that your order is going to be late? Okay? So when your boss comes to you and says, we need to have this product on March 1st, and you're talking in December or January, and if you don't know, you're going to say, yep, no problem. I know where Chinese New Year's is. That's way outside that boundary. There'll be no problem at all. I'd be thinking about 40% of the workers didn't come back. What does that do for your timeline? What does that do for your quality? On the shipping side, it takes months for the steamship lines to reposition their ships and containers because they're planning for that downtime. Okay? So, the deal you expect may differ vastly from what the customer has in mind.